Hi, I'm Lisa K. Donner, Editor-in-Chief of Liberty Nation, and with me today is Scott D. Cosenza, our Legal Affairs Editor. Hi, Scott.
Hi, Lisa.
Well, as my dad used to say, we're coming down to brass tacks here when it comes to the election. Give us the scoop as it currently stands, which is constantly changing.
It's hard to keep track with a scorecard, Lisa. After Texas filed its suit against Georgia, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, we have had dozens and dozens of other states pile into the case in various forms. Many have tried to file briefs supporting or dismissing the arguments of Texas in the form of amicus briefs, and still other states have asked to be added as parties to the case, and in a term that's called as an intervener. Also, Donald Trump, the president of the United States, has asked to be permitted to intervene as well as a participant in the case. And then, Lisa, I see you wanted to come in. There's also a host of other people who have petitioned the court to have their arguments be heard as amicus, including over 100 members of Congress and state actors and conservative and legal people and all sorts of folks. I actually entertained the idea today briefly of filing my own amicus brief just for the sake of it.
Yeah, maybe you're the only one in America who hasn't.
Sometimes it seems like it.
Well, just to clarify this, what is Texas asking for? And, well, let's just start there.
Texas is asking for the United States Supreme Court to rule that those four states I mentioned conducted their elections in an unconstitutional manner, and that the remedy for that breach or error is that they should redo their elections. And if they can't, or if it's practically impossible to redo them, then the decision on which electors should cast the votes for that state in the Electoral College should be decided by the legislatures of that state, which is to say that the Supreme Court should rule that the results are thrown out, basically, of the November 3rd election, and instead state legislatures for those four states make the decision on who the electors will be.
Right. And this is basically what those who believe the election is fraudulent have been wanting all along. I mean,
yes, the political realities of the compositions of those legislatures make it much more likely that Donald Trump will succeed if that's how it's thrown into. So forgetting for a second about the whether or not there was fraud or not, just in terms of the political realities, they're much more likely to be successful if the legislatures are the ones doing the picking rather than the secretaries of state, et cetera, who've determined the winner to be Joe Biden in those four states.
So the defendants in the case had till 3:00 today to make a filing, which they did, correct?
No, I think Georgia and Wisconsin maybe filed late. So they did make their filings, but they did not meet the 3 p.m. deadline. I doubt that they will face sanction from the Supreme Court in regards to this.
Okay.
But for the record, it has been, to say that it is a mess in terms of the court's filings, Lisa, I've never seen anything remotely like this in terms of just the pile on and the slipshod kind of nature of some of these complaints. It is. I actually texted an image of one of the complaints to a lawyer friend of mine who has practiced before the Supreme Court, because I was so shocked that they use these like decorative lines that you might use on like a resume or something like that in a filing at the Supreme Court. It was shocking.
Okay, so everybody's scrambling. I think that's safe to say. Now we have two different situations here. We have interveners and we have friends of the court. How is that lining up? But it does seem that everybody wants to get their say, even Ohio, but we'll leave that for later.
Well, I think that's actually the way to process it, is that everybody wants their say. It's now become also a politically charged case beyond those states. So everybody who has the kind of legal right to file, that's what it really does seem like. We have, I think it was 22, I can't even remember how many states joined DC's Attorney General Carl Racine in his amicus filing, basically representing Democrat attorneys general. And these are being led by the most politically active on either side of the aisle, or both sides of the aisle. Racine, for instance, is known as, he's not a person who confines himself to the affairs of the District of Columbia legal apparatus, which is what his job is. He likes to insert himself into national politics because that's way more sexy. And so that's what's happening with this case. We have over 100 congresspersons as we go to record this who have asked to join as well as Amici. So it's a pile on and it's an all in.
Okay, but Attorney General Ken Paxton from Texas kind of started this ball rolling up or down the hill, whichever you'd want to say. I'm not sure which way it's rolling right now. But basically, the Supreme Court has two options. They can just do nothing, or they can hear the case. Isn't that true? Yes,
the first part of the fight is getting 4 justices to agree to hear the case. Under the Supreme Court's rules of operation that they set for themselves as the independent third branch of our government, they determine their own calendar and rules for accepting cases. And the rule that they've set for themselves is when 4 justices agree to take a case, they will take it.
Well, that's what I was just going to ask you. In other words, they don't have a time limit.
Oh no, they don't work that way. It's that's why it's such a great job to be a Supreme Court justice. Yeah.
If they do take the case, what are we looking at in terms of timing here?
I think they would have to, this is speculation, but it seems like they would have to go for a very aggressive briefing schedule. Like, and to be clear, they will not talk about the merits of the case until they first reach a conclusion about whether they will take it. So they can render a decision on that just on the briefs or on the motions itself. They need not hear oral argument on whether the question is, will the court, listen to the other arguments in the case, right? That's the question. So if they do say yes, I think we could see that as early as the close of business on December 11th, and maybe early next week on Monday or Tuesday, or it's as I'm speculating out loud, I'm thinking to myself, it's crazy to even speculate because it's so unprecedented.
Okay,
what's happening here?
But basically, if they agree to take the case, they're going to have, maybe, could we say, a shortened.
Oh, Lisa, yes. If they agree to take the case, then they will certainly do so on a shortened briefing schedule.
Okay. And then after the briefing schedule, is there a certain amount of time where they have to actually come up with a decision, or they can just take their time?
No, there's not. And how they decide to take the case is up to them as well. Meaning they could just rule on these briefs that have been submitted electronically, or they could require advocates to come, or rather not come, I'm thinking in a pre-COVID world, or appear by Zoom meeting to argue the case. All of those things are on the table.
Okay, so we could, if they do agree to hear it, we could be looking at kind of like a Zoom hearing by the Supreme Court.
Yes.
Would that, I believe recently they did something in the public eye.
Well, this year has seen those access things turned on their head, Lisa. Now it's regular, normal, a common occurrence for the court to have arguments basically live on Zoom.
Okay.
Audio.
So
audio comments, audio arguments. Yeah.
Okay, so it's entirely possible that the nation could be at rapt attention listening to a Supreme Court argument if they decide to take it up.
It's possible.
All right. Well, there's no point in going any further in this because it'll change 20 times before we finish.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for bringing us up to date. My guess is there will be plenty of twists and turns. Please stay tuned to libertynation.com for
And Lisa,
all
if people want, they
information.
can, when they go to libertynation.com, we do have a link up to the Supreme Court's docket page for this case, and they can follow the very latest filings and any changes in those filings from that link.
Yeah, we also have a number of read-in fulls, which maybe you can explain that quickly.
Well, in an effort to get the real news out, we post the actual documents in several key documents in the case right on the site in PDF form, and people can peruse for their own edification.
All right. So for real news, no agenda, tune into libertynation.com. Thanks for joining us, Scott.
Thanks, Lisa.
And thank you for watching. I'm Lisa K. Donner, editor-in-chief of Liberty Nation. Have a great day. go deeper on the topic discussed in this video, head on over to one of these links here or go to our Liberty Nation Roku channel. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for Liberty.